Dear friends, this is a film that is full of so many ideas, images, movements, levels, times, that it's difficult for me to find a point where to start, but I think that's what I want to ask you. What is the kernel, the first moment of the intrusion? And how did you go from that to that, and 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 to that in the film?
Yeah, I think it was different key moments. And in the first beginning, went to the airport because we want to make a movie about a character that works with the suitcases, the luggage, and well, it was another history. The script was just starting to write a script, so we went to the airport to see how it works, how the procedure to how they work with the luggage, and then the film changed completely because once we were there, we met the workers, and we start to see, well, they relate themselves to this place in a completely different way, because when we went there in the first beginning, we saw, wow, it's an unknown place, you know, a place that people don't have affective relation to. And when we start to meet people there, we saw, no, they have many memories here. They are very proud of the work. Actually, they are born and they grew up here, so the airport for them means another different things. And then through the inhabitants of the territory, they start to expand our vision of the place. So many other layers came along with them. So we choose to, well, the movie, it's about that. It's about the people who are working here, and then it starts a process of research, and the movie, I think, in the end, is a movie of process that we are putting together a puzzle, but it never ends because we never give a final answer to the questions that just arise. We just, take these questions and give that back through images and sounds.
I have a question about the opening of the film, because I think it's a beautiful introduction into what I felt was the movements in the film. Like almost, I felt like a vertical line through time that travels through the place, starting from super early until the present, and then you cut to the actual airport, and you have the movement, like the horizontal movement, that is happening in the present, in this thing. And I felt that this is something that structures the film a little bit, and I don't understand all of it, but I still feel very connected to it. I think it's a mystery to me how that happens, because I feel like I can feel something, but I can't quite explain it. Why was it important also to have this chronological, I call it vertical level, go back to the past and then get closer. And this movement is made a couple of times in the film to bring this into it as well, because the story you told is already like circles around a theme that's quite big.
Yeah.
But then you insert also those questions through time.
Yeah. No, because in the end, I mean, it's a way to introduce from the beginning that the movie is about a territory that's made of different layers of temporalities. So, in the same time, it was a way to show the characters, and they represent, each one represents, the dates. There means an event, a historical event that is important to Guarulhos, like when they found the gold in the beginning, when the gypsies came, and when there's many different events.
There are many different layers of Brazilian history which happened in the city of Guarulhos, and I think the vertical movement through times probably comes from the fact that, well, I can talk for sure about Brazil, I don't know, maybe about Germany, but like the layers of history, they will just come on top of each other, and the next step will sort of erase the previous one. And so that's why it's a vertical movement, because you sort of stop a historical process and start another one, and then the previous one is buried. And the airport is very much like this. I'm not sure if it's clear in the film, but there is the river that goes like right beside the airport. The runway was built on top of a river, like concrete on top of the river, and it goes in one side and out the other. So it's very symbolic of this sort of process, right?
I felt it's a very political film in also talking about, I mean, obviously this is built on indigenous land, and this comes up in spirituality, but also in other things. But what really fascinated me is that Ale, the main character, usually those stories are often about just taking away from people. Land is being taken away, but in your film, I felt it's such a complex creation that the airport also brought opportunities. This is like in real life, but there's the loss of your city, the loss of your street. It doesn't exist anymore. But Ale is taking and giving back to the luggage, which I think is a beautiful image. But you said you were talking about the first idea of the film was about the people who handle the luggage.
Yeah.
But was this already part of it? Because that seems very specific, the giving and taking and rewriting, but also adding to the stories that she finds. So she would actually really add, or just like a feather or a stone, add it to it, but also take stuff. Can you say more about the idea of exchange?
From the beginning, I mean, the fact that she gives back also, it's the way she found to, because, I mean, in Brazil, the biggest trauma from the colonization, for me, it's the fact that many communities and people don't have access to their individual and collective memories. To reconstruct these memories, it's very difficult. You start from traces from the past that's not so clear, and you start, because you don't know where you come from, how the process, it's denied. For me, it's one of the biggest political also problems, because it's about identity. It's about, when you fight for a land, that you have to prove that you are indigenous. You have this background to be able to retake a land that belongs to your own family, own past, and the traces, it's arise all the time. So this character, she's the way she found to reconstruct her memories. It's the gesture of taking and giving back. It's the relations with the other. She's interested in the other. Buying, constructs a relationship to the other. She found things about herself.
And I think she's the character who remains the most. Like, she remains. Her sister is gone, her mother is dead, her girlfriend is leaving, and she is remaining. And so she's relating to other places and other people through these little bits of evidence of other lives, other times, other places. And just to comment on what Juruna said, something very strong was said during the days that we shot the indigenous village. One of the leaders who is in the film, Vanusa, she says a phrase that really stuck to us, which was that, well, I'm indigenous, so whichever land I'm in is indigenous land. So
I have to ask you one question, because for me the heart of the film is Ale so much,
Yeah.
so very much. So I just briefly want to go back to her. Also, outside you can see the film poster, which is just the back of her head with the braided hair. And I'm not sure if it's, I'll try to find a question this, because you said it was about the luggage worker in the beginning, which is a very different concept, even though she is a luggage worker.
Yeah.
And the braids, to me, kind of also, when I just looked at the poster again, I thought this is like weaving the film together as well, this interconnection. And I was so moved by a very quiet and also very non-violent and sometimes joyful insistence of existing, and of giving witness to her existence in distributing either the, let's call them gifts, or testimony of her presence, but then also giving testimony about with the kids, or with the airport, and then moving also almost into a different genre. The film moves in a different genre then, right? So she becomes, you're like, oh, is it still Ale, the character, or is it maybe the actor who is giving, it feels very documentary, but it still is very strong presence. So would you also say for you she's the heart and the center of the film, and then how does she relate to the different ways of storytelling in the film? Because some is very fictional, and the close-ups of her face, I mean, I don't know, I think she's a fantastic actor as well, so I can really just look at her and I see so much in the face. But then it's also the more documentary stuff, and then we have more the magical realism is not the real word, I guess, but the, other elements that are not related to our observational world.
Yeah.
Can you say something about that? Because we're used to a lot of films that have like one language or one optics or one layer. But yours is coming from all the different ways, circling around the main character.
Yeah, because I mean, this movie is made by a process of researching. We were there, the reality was giving us new information, and some way Ale represents this process of knowing this place, of opening ourselves to this reality. So it changed because sometimes we say, well, let's make a mise-en-scène and let's try to condense some ideas here, and sometimes we say, no, just let us just be open and receive what reality is telling us. So the nature of the character, I agree with you, is changing during the movie, because she represents in a way our will and what realities was actually giving back to us. Because it's always difficult when you think about a movie, you have some ideas, and when actually you confront the ideas of the reality, it's like a panic, because sometimes it brings you to other ways and shows you other. So it's a negotiation. Ale is a kind of negotiate.
Yeah, like a mediator.
Yeah.
And like from the making of perspective of this, when they first wrote the script, the main character was a male character. It's called Alex, not Ale. And he was written very specifically for one actor who is in the film. He's the union leader who is being fired. He was in their previous film, and so he was supposed to be the main actor, and he couldn't be our main character because he had just been cast in a very big role in a TV series, so he couldn't be with us. And we started to think, because Romulo, he's a very special actor for many films, in like authorial Brazilian film, and he's very good at like breaking into reality. He's almost like directing the film from within.
Yeah.
He's made many films like this, even their previous film. And so we started to think, like, who would be someone who could do the same? And so we got to Larissa, who is Ale, and so we changed to Ale, and then it became a same-sex relationship, but whatever, it's not what it's about. And she, even though she's very special, very, very expressive, she is from indigenous heritage. We didn't even know that when we first thought of her. And she was also like she did a course for like luggage carrying, like she actually studied, and she was very open to like play with the non-professional actors, and there are things which we love in the film which represent this so much, like the interview scene when they're like at the edge of the runway. She was, when we started shooting, she was like, but the planes are going, and I'm like losing my thoughts because the planes are going by. And Juruna, you specifically, right, was like, but that's it. Like, this is the story of this character being interrupted by this airport. So that's it. Just feel interrupted. Yeah. Let it be interrupted, because that is, and she was very sensitive to all those sort of things, so she just elevated the film.
Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you so much, Lara and Juruna.
Thank you.